Well, hello friends. Welcome. Happy Friday. Welcome to another Prefect 99 live stream. If indeed you are actually watching, thanks very much if you are. You'll find us back here at El Hierro. And we are going to make a very short stop. What I was going to do was a refuel stop without offloading packs and then continue on to somewhere, even potentially coming back up to London, which would have been a sort of good 6-hour day. But plans have changed, so I'm not going to do that. What we might do, we're going to head somewhere we can get as much fuel as we can. We might stop at somewhere like Marrakesh or Casablanca tomorrow before heading off to Athens for the event in the afternoon/evening. Anyway, I'll work out the timings. I'm probably not going to have much more time to stream today, even though this is a short flight. As I am going out later. So, with that in mind, let's just make the best of it. As I said, we are going to head to Tenerife North, and without putting too much of a morbid point on it, of course, that was where the single worst aviation accident in history took place, and I'm sure if you watch, you'll have seen me mention it more than once, especially in relation to radio usage on VATSIM, as there were lots and many lessons that came out of that, and it's well worth reading up on, because of course that is how safety in aviation advances, sadly, at the cost of lives. Lessons are hard learnt, and which is exactly why they need to be well remembered. Anyway, let's go sign the jet out. Take our packs over there for lunch.
Welcome to Hot Start Flight Support. How can we help you today?
Hello, Jenny. Well, I'm taking the only one on the pan. Hopefully the packs won't be as tardy as yesterday. However, it doesn't really matter because we're not going to need a 15-minute taxi. We are going to need some fuel. We could do this without refueling, actually, if we were doing it VFR. But with IFR reserves and an extra 30 minutes, we're going to need 1,800 kilos of fuel, 1855. There's 960 on board. 960 would be more than enough for triple taxi with a 30-minute reserve. It would just about be enough. So that gives an idea of what you can get away with. We might as well use a GPU. Actually, I wonder if somewhere like this would have a GPU. I don't want to be running the APU for the entire time. But let me just have a look at the aerodrome chart. Pilot controlled lighting. Let's have a look on the Google Earth and see what sort of infrastructure there is. Because of course this is a teeny tiny little airport. Aeroporto de here. And there's a dash 8. There are obviously some boxes. I see a fire station, but what I don't see is a huge amount of ramp equipment. So, I see a fuel truck. That makes sense. So, let's do it off the APU. Why not? And we'll add some additional fuel for that. I still need to figure out.
Of course, Captain. I'll get that organized for you right away.
Wonderful, thank you very much. I still need to figure out what the rough APU burn is, so let's head outside. Here is our jet, still nicely parked up. Pins, chocks, covers. I shut the blinds. Wasn't a bad landing yesterday. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't terrible. And the scenery here is just incredible. Once we get to the cockpit and get everything fired up, I will zip outside and we can have a look at that. The frame rate's in the 30s, which is good. But yeah, it's utterly incredible. So, let me just double check, see. So there's no traffic about, we can log on. What I'm going to do is start flight on Volanta, that's the one. Our alternate is Gran Canaria, which is of course not very far. So that's that running. Let's connect. We should have a flight plan filed, etc. We're exactly where we left off yesterday. I could have parked it a little bit better. I'm not quite sure what the markings are, but we are amply within whatever box there is here, I think. Cool. Still running on the 6 cores out of 8. No hyper-threading on this processor. We'll have some ground crew support. But what I will do is pop the pins and chocks out. We are going to be running the APU, so good walk around first. Flaps are all up. APU exhaust, and the inlet is of course up here. No need to open the baggage door, and we can't yet anyway. I'm sure our zero fuel weight would steadily increase if we did have 7 packs, all buying a bit of duty free here and there and some goodies. Good, so the nose chock is in, everything is out. We still have the nose gear pin. Let's wander in, get the cabin set up. I know we would have a crew member to do this in reality, but until that's simulated, do it ourselves. I don't know if the lighting is going to get any better. You can obviously tell that whilst that lights up, it doesn't allow any actual light into the cabin. There's no sort of reflected light off of all of that. So hopefully in X-Plane 12 that will get better. Oh, what am I doing? Let's have a look at the circuit breakers first. It will look in, and we had the question earlier, what's the point in, not earlier, but previously, you know, it's an expensive add-on with lots of systems. I forgot to mention that all of these are modelled. Every single circuit breaker, as far as I'm aware, is modelled. They interact with the systems exactly, and I think Flight Deck just improved that with foot warmer. Okay, maybe that's not modelled, but the electrical load will be. What I can say is that, you know, the nav lights, circuit breaker, you pop that and the nav lights go off. So that is what you're paying for, that sort of that attention to detail. Same with all of these, they will fail systems if you pop them. Anyway, there we go. Into our nice comfy seats. And what are we going to do? Well, first bit of the checklist. Circuit breakers, switches checked. I'm just going to make sure that the battery connections are still made. They are. Overhead switches all look fine to me, although I have been known to be wrong before. Down here, nose steering is mapped correctly and is off. Landing gear lever is down and matches my hardware. Flight spoiler, as you can see, is stowed. Flaps up, matches with outside. Landing gear emergency release and the ADG are both stowed, and the lamp EVGA test works. Logbook docs we can't do. Safety book we can't really do. External check pretty much done apart from the nose pin. So with that in mind, battery mask can come on. We'll pop the nav lights on now, they don't use much, but battery volts, we need 22 volts when we have 25. We need to test the Firex because we are going to be starting the APU up. So 1, 2, 3, 4 green for the APU, 1 and 2. Fire detector warning.
Jet pipe overheat.
3 red, 3 green, 5 cautions. Sorry, 5 warnings.
Jet pipe
Oral.
overheat.
Same with the fail. 1, 2, 3, 4 warning. And funnily enough, we don't need to do the duct monitor, which I find is odd because it would strike me as that being the first check that you would do. So what I'm going to do is I've got the proper checklist somewhere. There we go, in a little booklet for the normals. Let me just see what the difference is with this one. Why don't I give you a better view while we think about it? There we go. 910, I'm expecting 960 on the fuel, and then we're going to figure out what more we want. So, normals, circuit breakers, equipment pumps, equipment check, hydraulic pumps off, nose steer off, landing gear lever, flight spoiler lever, flaps lever, ADG manual release, battery master on, check 22 volts, FireX system, fire detection, nav lights on. Oh yeah, APU, and then it does the bleed leak afterwards. I would have thought you would have done the bleed leak detection first, but then you do the APU stages. I'm sure there's a reason, so we'll just go with that, shall we? So the nav lights are on, APU is required, so start that. To do so, APU power fuel goes in, APU gauge comes online. After APU indications stabilize, put the gen on. We will do that before we do the packs. So, APU starts, and it is, I don't know what time it is, 12:12. And we got 960 kgs of fuel. APU gen off, so the APU has stabilized. Let's put gen on. DC charging, TRU's operating, AC power, good. Then it's the lamp and bleed detection test.
Bleed air duct.
1, 2, 3, 4 warnings. 1, 2, 3, 4 red switch lights. Loop A checked. Loop B checked. At that point, you can then take the APU LCV on. Open, isolation valve, open, packs, on. And that is from the quick reference handbook. Then it's the systems checks, etc. Do we do any of the packs? Whatever, I will follow it. I still haven't got around to rewriting the checklist. I would like to, but oh, that seems like quite a lot of work. Not gonna lie. So, fuel trucks here. Lamp test in kilos, everything's off. We've got 950, we've only just started up the APU. So with that in mind, and I did check, if we wanted to get back to London from here, we'd be a little bit too heavy, so we would need to make a fuel stop for takeoff performance.
All right, Captain. Fuel truck is hooked up. Just let me know how much fuel you need. Or would you like to go tanks full today?
So, that is a good question. What are we using on the APU with the packs on? Do we use 100 kilos an hour? I don't know. We've got 45 minutes. I'm going to say we'll go to 1950 and then we'll see how much we use. So, $19.50, take a 1950, gives us a required 1 ton of fuel divided by 0.809. Gives us 1236 litres. 1240.
All right, I'm gonna go start up the pump.
Thanks. So, these do have to be checked before every refuel. See, one is electric and the others are pressure operated. Checked off. There we go. Just have the wings feeding. I suppose what we can do is have a look at the study menu. So look at the APU. £200 an hour, so 100 kilos an hour, is that right? Give or take? You could just sit and look at this forever, couldn't you? Mechanical loads, bleed loads. That's taking air, that's because that is in pounds per second. And you can see the horsepower loads for electrical, mechanical. So what do we reckon? 200, about £212 an hour. About 96, so yeah, approximately 100 kilos of fuel an hour. So that's useful to know. Obviously that will reduce without using the packs, for instance, but of course you might as well have the AC on.
Flight compartment checklist. AC and DC electrics.
Checked.
Nav lights, logo light.
On.
Cockpit lights.
Set.
Lamp test.
We've done.
Duct monitor.
We've done.
FMS database status.
Let's do that. So swap it just to clear everything out.
FMS flight plan uplink. ATIS.
Well, index, route menu, flight plan recall.
Complete, Captain. Do you need anything else?
So that's given us 1890. It's probably not far off. No, that's fine, thank you.
Okay, just one quick signature on here, and I'll be on my way. Here's a copy for your records. Have a nice day.
I'm going to do it the quick way, just like that. While I sort out the fuel panel. See how much fuel we end up with. So, shut. So, flight plan loaded. Let's just activate that and check it. You can see we're not really going particularly far. There it is. Our alternate I did mention. Golf Charlie Lima Papa. 111 miles. Yes, close enough. We are going to go a little bit around the houses. So, I think there's no SID for the runway that we are going to be using, which I think is going to be 3-4 because of the wind, which we'll check in a minute. So it'll be a visual departure. And then I think what I want to do is to go north for a few miles. So, or does it really matter? We'll just figure it out. I was just going to put a custom waypoint in, just to take us away from the island. No, we'll figure it out. Just hand fly it, get on our way, and then go. So, let's get the wind, get the weather from over here. So, we need... Where we are. Where we're going. And our alternate. So those are all from runway 16. We could do those departures depending on what the wind's doing. But I think it's a pretty solid 10 knots. We should have the performance to take a 10 knot tailwind. No. That's almost straight down the run at 13 knots, so it's not really going to happen, is it? So, 3-4. There you go. And I'll just write that down and then we'll look at our arrival, because we might as well do the planning now on the ground. So 33013, variable between 290 and 030, 10k or greater, few at 3000, broken at 6, temperature of 21, dew point of 9. QNH 1016. There you go, and that's also what we're going to be using for our arrival. That's close enough. However, the airport is 2,000 feet above sea level. There you go, that'll do. SimBrief is giving our cruisers flight level 220. I'm not convinced. Let's get the arrival weather. That's 310, so again, runway 30. So, arrival is going to be the Isla Sulu for 30. That's going to be via the Tenerife VOR. Have a look at those legs. Let's close that discontinuity. Let's see what else we can do. Drizzle, few at 800, broken at 15. Don't forget that is above the airfield, not above sea level. So we'll head to ARACO, Tenerife. Needs to be 6,000 above. I don't think we'll end up making. 220. So what we do know, we'll have to redo the fuel calcs. So we've got 1930 at the moment. Does it think we can make that? Okay. 43 miles, I guess it does. Is that a bit high? Maybe. So why don't we bring that down? I thought we would have been going east, so it would have been odd. So I'll call that 150. And our alternate is also 50. We know our zero fuel weight is going to be 13268. That is not going to be our fuel, so we'll have to do that just before we depart. Anyway, that's going to be worst case for performance, so we'll go with that for the moment. Do the winds in a moment as well, and our departure is 13:15. Our reserves are 410. Call it 450. I think it's fair to say we could add on to that our APU fuel burn as well, so let's call that 150 from now. VNAV setup. So departure wise, transition altitude is 6,000. Yes, we'll respect those speeds. Yes, and on arrival, transition is 6 with 1017. It should be 5170. Good. So, well, that is correct. We can download the flight plan winds. So temperature is indicating 21. So let's have a look for departure. We can pop in. No, that's wrong. It was 33013. Which of course is to our benefit. It is 1016. We have 1255. Double check the airport chart. 1250 is what is given. Dry, APR armed, temperature, pressure, altitude correct. Gross weight, and you can see there our maximum takeoff weight. We could get another 3 tons, which would necessarily be quite enough to get us all the way to London, but it wouldn't be far off. It just goes to show how much this aeroplane can manage. Don't forget as well that takeoff field length is the greater of the distance between, I think, balanced field length, 35 foot screen height, or 15%. Yeah, 1.15, 15% extra. I think it's usually the screen height that is the limiting factor. So you can take that because it has got those margins. That's not the takeoff distance, that is the field length. You can take that right up to the wire and be happy. So, like I say there, we could take an extra 3 tons of fuel or payload, or mix of both. So even from a relatively short 4,000 foot runway, we could do that 4-hour stint back to London, just to give you an idea. And there are, if you get the performance, you can get the manuals online for free with a bit of searching, and they'll give you the takeoff table so you can estimate those distances to give you an idea, so you don't have to get into the jet to do this before so you can do it in flight planning. Hence how I knew that it would probably be a bit tight, especially with no wind and especially with a bit more temperature, that we'd probably end up needing a little bit more runway than we had available, so we'd need to make a fuel stop. So obstacle wise, no, there isn't anything. We're going to do a right turn initially away from terrain. And runway length limit is the limiting factor there, isn't it? Happy.
Anti-skid.
Let's do the rest of the checks. Anti-skid tested.
Nose door.
Okay, let's make sure. Clear, so clear left, clear right.
Hydraulic 3A pump.
On.
Brake pressure.
You can see those there. Inboard brakes, just waiting for 3000 psi, which we have.
Parking brake.
Set and the outboard brake pressure because there's nothing in the system.
Nose door.
So that's the nose door closed check. Let's head out, get the pin. Wheezy APU and nice heat effect. That's the old frame rate. Ah, that's dropping because weather, I guess. This airport's pretty good. I don't know who made it, but I mean, I think it personally needs a few tweaks, but it's pretty good. But of course, there's probably not much point until we get X-Plane 12. Okay, nose door is closed.
Hydraulic panel and pumps.
So all on and operational. Let's see, 3000 psi on all of them. And then simply set these back. Of course, the caution comes on.
Electric panel.
Gen 1, 2 off.
AC/DC utility switch.
So APU EGT is at 493, 494. Pop that on. Does that load increase? Yes, a little bit. We're at 1 degree.
Start ignition panel.
Checked all out.
Fuel panel.
So 1, 2, 3, 2 green, 2 white. 2 green, 1 white. Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right comes on. Go off. Out. Both off. So you're testing the interlocking there. There was a question about fuel dumping. It's not designed to dump any fuel. It's designed to dump the tail tank only if the transfer fails. So it isn't a fuel dumping mechanism because of course it wouldn't work at the moment. So fuel panel's checked.
APU LCV.
10th stage isolation.
10th stage isolation valve.
Open.
Packs.
On.
Air conditioning panel.
So it's interesting that we do fuel check and everything else in this checklist, whereas the other one, as you pop the packs and everything else on straight away, which kind of makes sense, and then check APU, hydraulic, lights as required, start ignition, fuel panel, air conditioning, ELT. Yeah. Like I say, at some point I would like to write my own checklist. So air conditioning panel. Packs on normal, temp set, ram air, out extinguished, guarded, set to cabin as we've got crew.
Pressurization panel.
So ICAS 0 differential pressure, man rate centered, man out centered, man rate is all the way down, press manual once, and ICAS off, form light comes on, emergency depress out, extinguished, guarded, destination 2000 feet, barrows set, rate set, checked.
Bleed air panel.
All off, all on.
Supplemental ground wing anti-ice panel switch.
All off.
Cal anti-ice switches.
In, check, no caution. Out.
Anti-ice panel.
So, wing switches off, left right heats off, cowls out, extinguished. Move these to test. 1, 2, 3, 4, test, OK. Set to off. Ice detect. Checked. Wing overheat. Listening for the oral.
Wing
1 red,
overheat.
1 green.
Wing overheat.
Emergency lights.
So they go off, and they are off. There is a caution. They go on. There is an info. Yes. Go check them. To arm. No caution.
Passenger signs.
Pop those on.
ELT.
Auto. Correction armed.
Glare shield panel.
Set checked.
Crew and passenger oxygen.
We've got 1900 psi.
DCU warning panel.
Now extinguished guarded.
CVR.
Green light comes on.
Audio panels.
1, 2, checked, set. 228, happy.
SPS system.
So on this side, on my side, flight controls. So stab 1, trim all the way down. Good thing that the trim, what do you call that, trim noise? Trim stuck. SPS left and right. Stall fail. Mission left and right. Stall warnings. Push. Come back. Elevator goes down. Release. Can't do anything else.
Integrated standby instrument.
So that's checked. Serviceable.
Clock.
Flight times reset.
EFIS. ICAS.
Checked.
Main landing gear bay overheat.
Gear bay
One oral.
overheat.
1 warning. 1 caution.
TOS warning switches.
They are all guarded.
Glide slope.
There we go. Testing.
Pull up. Wind shear. Wind shear. Wind shear. Terrain. Terrain. Pull up.
So I'll just turn the radar back off.
Pitch and roll disconnects.
Stowed.
Ground spoilers.
They are auto.
Thrust reversers.
Checked. Armed.
Thrust levers.
Numero uno. Full free correct shut off. Scene 4, 2.
Engine speed switches.
On.
Engine vibration check.
Goes up to 3.5. A VIB caution.
Oral warning. Smoke detector.
Smoke.
Oral 2 warnings.
Smoke.
Trims. Mach trim.
So we have to do that. Check for trim in both directions. There's the clacker. Stab 2 in op. Disconnect. Look for stab trim. Mac trim. Checked. 2 Mac. 1 in op. Reset. Then we're looking for all in. No cautions. Set for takeoff. We're going to be relatively light. Let's try 5.6.
Yacht ampers.
On, no caution.
Reversionary inhibit switches.
normal iris CDU correction is out.
IRS.
Hello, Glenn. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, my friend. Yeah, maybe it is too high. Maybe it just puts a bit too much load on your GPU like it was with me. IRS, 3 in now.
CPDLC.
Can't do.
TCAS.
We can do TCAS. And like I said, I think it's a VRAM issue when it comes to Ortho for me. Although also,
TCAS system.
try setting the X-Plane shortcut to use less of your CPU threads. I've done that, and whilst the frame rate seems to have been affected a little bit, for some reason the frame time is higher than the GPU or CPU scores. It does seem a little bit better, so that's also worth a try. I want prog. TCAS we did.
HOTAS and clearance.
No clearance, but we have got the weather. Well, we will update that as well before we go.
FMS flight plan. Wind update. Perf.
So, quite finished doing that, have we? Because as you can see, we're down to 1900 kilos. 1855 was our minimum. We should be more than alright for that. Let's have a look. I'll tell you what I'll do. We've got ample performance anyway. Let's just redo the weather. Oh, you have a... Oh, sorry, Glenn. I'm an idiot. Yeah. That has got tons of VRAM, hasn't it? Well, I hope it isn't that. If Ortho causes a proper Ortho crash to desktop, then you should see it in the log. If it's the Challenger, definitely try the reduced thread. It's on the X-Aviation forums. It may help. It's worth a try. 12:30 Zulu. And this will probably update again. 360 at 10 now. With 10K. Same cloud. 21.8. 1016, which is still set. So that reduces it down a bit, but we still have ample available. Bleeds off, of course. CG and trim we can't do. What is our current gross weight? I just need to find somewhere on the flight plan to pop this down. We've got some airport NOTAMs as well for arrival. They're doing works at Tenerife, so taxiways are shut, and we will respect that unless told otherwise. So our zero fuel weight was 13270. Current weight, we take 1800 for taxi 13270, gives us 15.1. We're assuming 15.2, so that's more than safe for us. We're only reducing performance now because our current weight is just under 15.2. So happy to leave that, knowing that we've got performance dialed in. I'm going to need to change that. Even if the wind dies down, should have ample available. Of course, we can check with reducing that 10 knot. What I won't do is take a tailwind without recalculating. No ATC on mine anyway. So flight plan, yes. Wind update, yes. Arrival is in there, and checked. That's fine. So we can do our approach. There it is. Oh, obviously do this before you do that, because then you've got to read it. So if we assume no wind, bearing in mind that it's going to be 300 at 9, then we're always going to be safe. So that's a big difference in temperature, isn't it? Considering it's not that far away. 2,000 feet, so don't forget that's a significant performance impact. So we'll do it with nil wind. Runway 30, yes, no wind. And 15.2, which is our current weight, it is going to be less than that, although if we put the V-speeds in at VREF 125, then of course that will be our distance because it is based on speed. So we could still fly at 125, it would be unnecessarily quick. And why is that not set to my default of length? Either way, we have ample, absolutely ample performance, considering we're going to knock 500 off of that. So if we said 14.8, for instance, how much did that bring it down? 1349. Not by a huge amount, but it brought it down by some. Anyway, we have ample performance for arrival, and we're going to go all the way down to the end to get into the general aviation parking on the left, so we really don't need to stand on the brakes or anything. The taxiways are shut for phase 2, so Romeo from Echo 3 all the way down to the end. I know I'm not displaying the charts, but I don't want to kill my sim. You can see we've got a lot of extra fuel. Why did I put that on? Just because, well, that's it. And APU use as well. So I'm actually happy with even using those, but we will, as we get closer, just quickly update them, put the weather in, and you can see we're well under our max landing. Approach climb gradient is, that's in degrees, isn't it? So the missed approach climb gradient is set at 5 for the minimums. Anything less than that, you've got to do it. We've got a huge advantage there. So we can take the minimums of 2, 3, 4, 2. I might as well pop those in.
Hello, Captain. It's Jenny from Hot Start Flight Support. Your passengers have arrived.
Oh, good.
Shall I have them brought to the plane?
Yes, please. They can sit in here while we set up.
Understood. They'll be there in a couple of minutes. Anything else?
No, that's brilliant. Thanks.
Always a pleasure. Take care.
So 2, 3, 50 are our minimums. For departure, MSA wise, we need to be really above 7 as quick as possible. It's 6 out to the north, which is the way we're going. Two, 350 was what I said. Keep winding this up. And of course we want to get as much done on the ground here as we can. I said we were going to go up to 150, so might as well set that now. Really see the point in going much higher than that. So let's go back to takeoff. as we said, ample. V speeds sent set.
Takeoff data.
Done and happy. We have ample performance.
Avionics and charts.
I've not got them displayed, but I have them available. I have mine available anyway. What I will do is set 295. Course for VOR1. Because that's the runway, 295. Nav1, we are going to set 110.3 on standby. I know it will switch over. And on Nav2, 1177 for the Tenerife VOR. That's going to be 115 outbound for the approach. That's where we're going. Happy days.
Flight instruments.
So let's bug 200 because there's no restrictions.
Hello, Captain. How are you today?
I'm very well, thanks.
That's great to hear. Well, we're all set back there, so we can get going anytime.
Good, we'll shut the door in a moment. Let's just do this check first. So, Toga done. TO left both sides. Airplane looks roughly level. Have a bit of a fuel imbalance which we'll need to sort out as we go. The HSI is giving us a sensible heading. We know that we are going to be using runway 34. We're going to enter backtrack and turn around. That's 338. 338 degrees. Straight ahead 400 flaps up, right turn. We'll head at least north initially. Away from the island. FMS1 for departure. Maybe we'll go up to 220. I'd tell you, we'll just do 15. Doesn't really matter. V speed set, 200 above, flight director on my side. Altitude set, VSI 0 to set, and TO 91.1.
Departure briefing.
We have discussed it is effectively a VFR departure.
Emergency procedures. Pins, covers, chocks.
Done.
Cabin lights, water heaters, master seat. Flight compartment checklist complete.
Good.
Start checklist next.
So we are good to go. Let's get the door shut. Excellent. Right, so we're actually a little bit early.
Engine start checklist. Doors. Closed. Parking brake and pressure. Checked and set. Fuel quantity and balance.
So for engine start, so we need a fuel imbalance of less than 182. So we've actually got 120. I will sort it out though. But that is fine. Fuel remaining. We know we've got ample fuel for our departure today.
Beacon.
So let's head over here and let's do the tuning this side. We'll pop out on. Disable downwind we have. We know where we're going. As you can see, we're going to be going around and doing that. So anything else to do? Well, we're on the APU, we don't have a GPU to disconnect, we still have some chocks in, the brake is set. We can't call for start, so...
On. Fuel boost pumps. On. Ignition.
It was A yesterday, so we'll use B today.
On. Engine 2 start.
And we will ask the ground crew. good to start. So it is 12:55. And we've got 1880. Start engine number 2. N2 turning oil pressure is rising 20%, less than 120. N1's turning, fuel on, fuel flow increases. ITT's increasing, oil pressure's increasing. And of course, if the ITT is greater than 120, just let the engine motor, the cool air coming through from the front fan, will bring that ITT down.
Fuel system.
So right's running, so we're looking for left low pressure. Left and right pump. Left low pressure, pumps back on.
Engine 1 start.
Thumbs up, start engine number 1. N2's turning, oil pressure increasing, 20% less than 120, which we have, fuel on, N1's turning, fuel flow's increasing, ITT's increasing, oil pressure increasing.
Engine start checklist complete. After start checklist, next.
So 2, 4, 6, 2, both engines nice and stable.
After start checklist. Generator 1 and 2. On, checked AC and DC. Ignition. Disarmed. Packs. On. 14th stage.
So I'm just checking the AC/DC, which I'm now happy with. 14th stage for the reversers.
Cowl anti-ice.
So for this, we are going to go on.
Check 45 seconds. Flight controls.
Full forward, full back, full left, full right, full left rudder, full right rudder.
Ground spoilers.
So auto not deployed, disarmed not deployed, auto's correction armed, they deploy, set back to auto,
Flight spoilers.
all the way up, halfway, stowed, correct,
Cowl anti-ice.
on,
Supplemental ground wing anti-ice.
testing.
Fuel balance.
So we have got an imbalance of 120, that's within. But what I am going to do is let's have some left walks. See how we get on with that.
Trims.
1, 2, 3, set.
No steer.
Just wait for the chocks out signal. Chocks out.
Armed. APR.
1 APR, test 1 OK. 2 APR, test 2 OK.
ADG unit.
Hold it, wait for the light to go out.
Supplemental ground wing anti-ice.
Still waiting for that. You can see why I turned it on early. I think it should probably come on quicker than that, but there it is. It's on. Switch light out.
Cowl anti-ice.
We're going to pop those out.
Off. Wing anti-ice.
Oh yeah.
Norm. 14 stage isolation valve.
Operates correctly.
Wing anti-ice.
Left and right heat on. Wing anti-ice. Caution on. Yellow N2. Yes.
Checked. Off. ATS. N1 TO. ATC TCAS.
I'm happy with it.
After start checklist complete. Taxi checklist next.
So we're not actually going very far for taxi. What we'll do is we'll just taxi forwards. Should we hold at 45 degrees? What I wanted to do was show you the scenery. Zoom level 17 only, I think. Not terrible, swimming pool and helipad. Be nice if I could handle better. There are no buildings, unfortunately, but would you look at... That's worth having Ortho for, isn't it? It's just brilliant. And what looks like a nice little harbour down here. I'd like it to be sharper, but until I get a new GPU with some more RAM, no chance. So, taxi forward a little bit, we won't point, and we'll just hold here.
Taxi checklist. Taxi lights. On. Wing and cowl anti-ice.
Not required.
Brakes and steering.
So, let's do that. Clear left, clear right, we'd get seen off. Brake off. Brakes released. Full right, full left. Brakes work. Parking brake set.
Reverse thrust.
I think we can do that stationary. Could be wrong, tell me if I am. Left checked. Right checked. And the solenoid valve has told us it's open, which is grand. Let's shut that. As we should now have relatively even fuel flow.
If taxiing the de-ice, pause checklist here until a paper de-ice checklist is
Oh,
complete.
we are not.
Close. 20. Altimeters. Set and cross-check. Radar weather. On. Takeoff briefing.
We have discussed we're going to enter backtrack. Easy as, really. Our minimum takeoff fuel was 1286. We have got loads of additional fuel. We've done the performance. We've done the performance for arrival. It's a 36-minute flight. We might go up to 220.
Taxi checklist complete. Before takeoff checklist next. Before takeoff checklist. Passenger signs. Advised on. Anti-collision light. On. Pros. On. Windshield heat. On. Wing and cowl anti-ice.
Not required.
Continuous ignition. On. ATC TCAS. TARA. Supplemental ground wing anti-ice panel. Checked. CAS. Takeoff config OK.
Checked.
Landing, pulse, recog lights. On. Before takeoff checklist complete. After takeoff checklist next.
It's 1303 off stand with 1800. El Hierro traffic, prefect 99 entering backtrack runway 34. El Hierro traffic. What a fun little place. So we are entering the correct runway, 338. It's to our right, so we are going left. No, we wouldn't be able to do an intersection departure from there. All idle thrust. The turning pad is on the right hand side. Not sure about this building. The other thing I was thinking of, Glenn, was I used to have issue with sometimes Ortho would fail, and I think I had a PowerShell script for checking for 0-byte files. That might be something worth considering. So, correct runway. You can see the terrain out to our left. stopped. I'm not going to set the brake, I'm just going to hold the airplane on the brakes. It's going to be 13:06 as we depart. We are going to have 1780. Alhera traffic, prefect at 99, taking off runway 34, departure to the northeast. Alhera traffic. Quick cheat. Nothing seen. It's 13:06. Packs are ready. We're ready. Off we go. ASI is reading. 80 knots. V1. Rotate. E2, positive rate. Gear up. There's 400, right turn. Flap up. Just come out over to the north. Airplane was pretty spectacularly out of trim there. And we will have flight level change to 50. Let's take AP heading, flight level change.
After takeoff checklist. Landing gear. Up. Flaps. 0. Thruster resource. Off. Ignition. Off. Pressurization. Checked. Packs transition.
Seems almost a bit pointless.
Completed. N1. Climb set. APU generator. Off. APU. Shut down. Passenger signs.
We'll leave them on for the moment.
CAS.
Checked. APR still on but clear.
After takeoff checklist complete.
That's 1.5. Well, let's actually go up to 220 then. Or should we go 2.1? Let's go 2.1. So let's have speed, vertical speed, just to chill it out. There we go. Is it a bit bumpy? Or is it just the wind? Can't tell. Take flight level change at 300 and we'll be staying in knots. Hopefully get over this, above this cloud layer, and it will smooth out a bit. Flight level change 300 into some cloud. The ITT may peak just as that comes on before it sorts itself out. Shame about those little weather skips. Cloud surfing is fun otherwise. $1,000 to go, checked. Out capture will maintain 300. Top of these clouds. So we may encounter a bit of icing. I'm going to leave. I think we can turn it off now. Otherwise we'll just leave it on. Of course this may all change. There you go. Never a truer word said. So, out capture, I'm going to set flight level 100. And now we can get the weather again. Looks like we're the only one playing. We're the only arrival at Tenerife North, Los Redondos. Everyone else will be going to the other one, no doubt. This will, of course, update. But we've got 1300 Zulu, 311. Variable between 270 and 340 degrees, greater than 10k, few at 1500, broken at 2200, 14 G.9, QNH 107. So let's pop that in. There's our arrival. We'll do the our performance for fuel and everything at the moment as well. So we think we are going to arrive 13:20. That seems a little bit low. Only 14.6. One, 2, 4, 5. 130. Yes. Yes. Straight down the run. It's gonna be 1, 2, 3. Plus 5 gives us 1, 2, 8. It's not gonna be gusty. It will seem like it is because explain the variable winds. Well below max landing weight. Not really any point getting out the seats. So we are going to be going 12 DME outbound, turning base, 115 outbound from the VOR, which I have got set on VOR2. We can fly that raw data if we need to. Then 1103 and 295 is set VOR1. It's all off the TFN. Yes, there is Los Deos VOR. 200 or slower, so we can probably do 220 outbound, if not 240. We are going to be descending pretty much all the way. MSA is 14.5 in the sector that we're going to be approaching it, 6.5 to the east. That's pretty high. Don't forget the airport is 2,000 feet above sea level, as you can see there.
Descent checklist. Shoulder harness. Passenger signs.
Not yet.
Pressurization.
Checked.
Fuel quantity and balance.
That has sorted itself out, hasn't it?
FMS. Landing data. Charts.
We have just done.
Approach briefing.
We've discussed.
VNAV transition flight
Is set.
Descent checklist complete. In range checklist next.
So let's arm VNAV path. It's going to be 300, 250, so no slowing down needed. Downwind is disabled. Pop those on as we start our descent. "12 minutes out. Please sit back down." So localizer has tuned India Tango Foxtrot 295 1103. Happy. I don't actually want it set the other side, so I'm going to switch that. Then we're going to get a nav disagree. I want 1177. What did that tune that to? 62. So that's giving us a nav disagree check lock tuning. That's fine. I don't want it the other side. It's absolutely fine, because I am single crewed. So Tenerife VOR tuned, yes. Tenerife North traffic, prefect 9920 miles west, inbound, ILS Zulu runway 30, Tenerife North traffic. Beautiful volcanic island ahead of us. Anything else to do? No, I think we've pretty much done it. You can see the airport just down here. Like I say, if you haven't read up on the disaster, that was a spectacular disaster. By the way, the VOR has taken us over these, hence why we're staying above 6,000. VOR on the top of a mountain. How fun. But if you haven't read up on it, please do. It is somber and sad, but like all things in aviation, a good read. A bit like is it a Citation? Anyway, a bizjet where that's my bad. need to wind that back manually, don't I? Let's bring that back to 240. The BizJet where gust lock was in, nobody did a full and free. That's why I always make the point of saying, you've got to do it. Any aeroplane you fly, full and free, it's just self-preservation. So we're not really slowing. Let's use a little bit of speed brake. Might as well go full. Can you imagine sticking a VOR up on the top of this mountain? I wonder how they did it. Helicopters, no doubt. A bit like the radar at Gibraltar. Don't know if you saw that recently. It's max 210 around the base turn, so oh no, max 185. So we want flap 1 by about 14 miles. Tenerife North traffic, Prefect 99 overhead. Tango Foxtrot November, VOR, flight level 115, descending flight level 60, inbound ILS, runway 30 Tenerife North. So, outbound 115, set that as a reminder, flight raw data if we need to. There's our 10, we can now continue down to 5.
In range checklist, APU. Started. Altimeters. Avionics.
Checked.
External lights. On. N1 target.
Not available yet. Interesting. Is that because we've got leads on? Right, I think that's a little bit early. We'll intercept the other way.
APU PAX transition. Avail completed. APU generator. On. CAS.
Checked.
In range checklist complete. Before landing checklist next.
1017, 1017. So I know that was a bit messy, I just needed a couple more extra miles. Is our ghost pointer's gone? Is that because Nav2 needs switching over? Yes. So, cleared arm for the approach. You're on glide slope, but the aeroplane just did something interesting. 13 DME. Localizer's armed, glide slope's armed. There we go, switched over. 295. Tenerife North traffic, prefect 99 established, ILS runway 30, 12 miles, Tenerife North traffic. So the missed approach glide slope is captured. Straight ahead to 6, we will set 6. 180 we can maintain for quite a long way. And then once we drop below this cloud layer, I will take the anti-ice off, because it's static 6 degrees. So hopefully that won't redraw. So localizer check is 437 DME, 6.9 actually, but you can see, look, if you look down there, distance roughly, so we're on the correct glide slope, we haven't captured a false glide slope. How good does the scenery look? Quite good, I hope you'll agree. Should all be zoom level 17. So let's bring the speed back to 160. Add some flap as we get to 4 miles. Add the gear and start the checks.
Before landing checklist. Landing gear lever. Down indicating. No steer. Arm centered clear. Anti-skid. Armed tested. Passenger signs. On. Wing cowl anti-ice.
Not required.
Continuous ignition.
2500.
On. Thrust reversers. Armed. Spoilers. Stowed auto. Flaps. Set. CAS.
Checked.
Before landing checklist complete. After landing checklist next.
Looks like the airport is on quite the plateau. Don't think we've been here before.
1,000. Approaching minimums.
Feels quite a bit out of pitch. It's bouncing around because of that variable wind. Even though we know it's not going to be that bad. Continue in reality. A little bit high. Ample runway.
$100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Little bit flat. No brakes. Just gonna let the airplane roll. $60 knots, cancel reversers. And as I said, we're going to go all the way to the end. We could have made that exit. Some of these are shut. Accurate with the green markings here. So we can't vacate at these. And we can't do a vacate and a left turn, so we're going to have to go all the way to the end. And the general aviation is down there on the right. So if we vacate here, oh, those are not manually placed, those signs, are they? I suppose you could put one there. We're going to go to the general aviation. We need to do a left immediately, so we're not going to vacate there at Echo 2. Because it is not marked for a left-hand turn, so we're going to go all the way to the end. Notice that even with power, the spoilers don't retract. Unlike the 737. So it's not really a displaced threshold. It's actually taxiway to those markings. But hey, that's semantics. Ooh, it's interesting. With increased mesh resolution. Still got this little dip here. Take it nice and slow. And we'll call once we have vacated.
After landing checklist. Landing pulse recog lights. Off. Anti-collision lights. Off. Continuous ignition. Off.
Tenerife North traffic, prefect 99, runway vacated.
Pros. Off. Wing anti-ice. Off. Cow anti-ice.
It's off, not required.
Spoilers. Stowed. Flaps. 0. ATC TCAS. Alt on. Radar mode. Standby. After landing checklist complete. Engine shutdown checklist next.
So we're just going to do a left into the ramp here. Hopefully the markings are correct. Park on one of these stands. 26 meters, well we are 16.9 I think. And I guess we'll take this one here on the left. I'm not convinced that these markings are correct, but we will follow them nevertheless. Not bad, I just don't think they're quite what matches in reality. bit of differential thrust. There's no differential braking there. What does this look like? I guess we haven't quite made that, have we? I'm going to stop it there. Are we in the box? A marshaller would tell us. You know what? That's not bad. That's about as good as I can do. And we're in the box, so not bad for no marshaller. It's 13:36.
Engine shutdown checklist. Taxi lights. Off. Parking brake. Set. Reverse thrust. Stowed. Generators 1 and 2. Off. Engine 2 shut down. Fuel boost pumps. Off. Fuel system.
Just waiting for the right low pressure, which we have.
Engine 1 shut down.
And Atlanta says
Check ITT below 350 degrees Celsius.
checked.
Anti-ice. Off. 14th stage. Off. Beacon. Off. No steer. Off. ATC TCAS. Standby 0. Parking brake if chocked.
Gonna leave it on.
Passenger signs. Off. Cabin differential. 0 psi. Engine shutdown checklist complete. Securing checklist next.
So Valanta says we touched down at -182. It felt a bit worse than that. It felt flat. Doesn't really give an accurate representation, in my humble opinion. Let's give Jenny a call.
Hot Start Flight Support, Jenny speaking. How can we help?
Come get him, please.
Of course, I'll have that over with you in a minute or two. Anything else?
That's it.
Always a pleasure. Take care.
Wonderful. Let's go do the pit. Pins. Well, surprisingly, the nose wheel is actually straight. Probe heats are off, so these should have cooled down. That still looks like it's turning around pretty quick. So we're going to leave the airplane here overnight because I'm out tonight. Maybe 2 sectors tomorrow. We could go direct to Athens, but why don't we stop somewhere like Marrakesh, do a morning flight and an afternoon flight. Or Casablanca. That's what I'm thinking about. Doubt anyone comes here anymore, do they?
The airport taxi's here. Thank you, Captain. Great flight as always.
You're welcome.
Well, I'll see you next time.
So they are getting in their taxi, which doesn't appear to be killing my frames anymore. frame times seem to be added together to make the frame, which I'm finding really odd. X-plane is odd.
Secure and checklist. Emergency lights.
Off.
AC/DC utility switch.
Off.
Headsets. Thrust reversers.
Off.
Chocks.
They are in.
Parking brake.
Is off.
Hydraulic pumps.
Come off.
Nav lights, logo light.
On.
APU generator. APU start stop. Packs. LCD. 10th state APU power fuel. ICAS APU gauge. Battery master. Cockpit refuel panel. Service lights. Pins and covers.
Done.
Secure and checklist complete.
So, we are going to go click, click. Make sure they are indeed out. They look it. Just double check this fuel panel. Yes, I managed to remember to turn it all off, and we're just waiting for the APU gauge to disappear and run through its shutdown procedure. And then we'll watch the replay. So, like I say, Volanta said -182 at 113 for the touchdown. I know it's a bit long, we got a little bit high, but we didn't have to worry too much because we had, like I said, ample runway remaining. Disconnect from the VATSIM. APU power fuel is out and it's gone off the gauge, everything's off. There is the aeroplane turned off, so let's have a look at the replay. Strange without the noise, but whatever. Yeah, could have held that off a bit better. Little bounce. I don't think that was terrible. I think that was okay. Just needed a bit more of a hold off, but I suppose it would have worked quite well on a short runway. Planting it a little bit further. And as you can see there was the taxiway of concern. These ones blocked off. It's pretty accurate. All in all, quite a nice airport. Good effort. I'm sure we could tweak it, improve it a bit, but there's quite a lot of talented people out there. Don't know if those are realistic. What I will say is that the taxiways that would be shut are down here, so you can enter and access via here and backtrack. Those are shut in reality. Apart from that, this isn't too bad. The terminal looks a bit ropey. That could definitely be improved, I think. Maybe I'll have a go at it. What do you guys think? The rest of it is actually pretty good. The markings and everything else. Somebody's put a lot of effort into that. I think these are ever so slightly wrong. So I might do some tweaking on it. I don't know. That's a bit horrific, but then that is what happens with the mesh. I wonder if that's accurate. The mesh should be pretty accurate. Whatever. Yeah, not too shabby. It was all right, Glenn. Thanks. Yeah, I thought so. Could have been a bit better, but I knew it was a long landing, and you don't want to hold it off and float forever. But I'm sure the passengers would not have complained too much about that. Anyway, I am going to say thanks very much for watching. Like I said, I'm going to try and fly twice tomorrow. It won't be a turnaround. I'd like to do a fuel stop without offloading the packs. I think that would be interesting just to try. But anyway, whatever you get up to, enjoy your Friday. Have a happy weekend if I don't see you tomorrow. And then I'm going to be busy and away and then on holiday next week. So I might stream next Wednesday. But I'm going to definitely try and stream tomorrow and make it to the Athens event. And then the rest is up for grabs. So until then, if I see you tomorrow, then I'll look forward to it. If not, have a great weekend. Take care and bye for now.